I believe that no one is a mistake. You know, everyone has purpose. Everyone has a calling on their life. And who am I to judge anyone? I don't know everyone's story. I don't know their past. I don't know. So I was born in the 80s, and obviously I have a limb difference. And if I'm being completely transparent, life was not so good as a child. I was the only one in my classroom, and, you know, all the way up to high school, college. And I was the only one in my neighborhood to have a limb difference. Nobody really looked like me unless I went out of state at the time. So I felt alone. I felt isolated. And even though, you know, my parents really never treated me like I had a disability, they never really labeled me to be disabled. I still felt isolated within my own home because there was nobody who looked like me. My parents installed in me the ability to know who I am, and self-confidence was very key in my household. And so even though I felt these feelings, you know, feeling alone and that nobody really looked like me, I somehow deep down inside still knew who I was. And I knew that I was special in my own way. And I knew that, you know, I was loved. And that was the most important thing, to know that I was loved. My town that I lived in was vaguely small. And being in my neighborhood, the only child with a limb difference, I did get treated differently. There were children whose parents never taught them about people with disabilities. And so I often got that question, what happened to you? And, you know, what's wrong with you? And as a child, how do you answer that question? That's such a loaded question, like, especially if I never knew, you know, myself, being raised up in a household where I just got treated, okay, you're different, but that's okay. I never really truly got educated to know my own disability. When I was a kid, I was in a classroom, and I do know that it was elementary school because I remember being young. And there was a little girl's birthday, and this teacher was so angry at me, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why they were so angry at me or why they were so mad, but she was so mad at me. And I kept saying, can I have some cake? Can I have some cake? I remember saying that. And this little girl, she's like treating me disrespectfully also. And I'm like, what did I do? You know, I don't know what I did. I just want cake. And I kept asking. The teacher looked at me and said, disabled people don't get cake. She put me in timeout and left me there for the remainder of the classroom. And the reason why I remember it was the remainder of the classroom is because she left me in the corner so long that kids were starting to get picked up by their parents. And I remember crying my eyes out, not knowing what I did, but this word, disabled, I've never heard it before, but this is the first time I'm hearing it, and it's by an adult. This is bad. And, you know, for a child, you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm obviously in a timeout chair. I got yelled at, and she called me disabled. So disabled is bad, and I'm disabled. I'm a bad disabled person. And I'm sitting in this corner, reevaluating my actions, not knowing that I really didn't do anything wrong. But my point is, the way that this teacher treated me is the way the little girl whose birthday it was treated me. You know, teachers have so much influence, they don't even realize. They don't even realize the influence that they have on children's life, but they're seeing what you're doing when they're not with us, the parents, and they're watching how your demeanor is towards other students. They're watching how you treat other students. They're watching what you say to other students, and what you say matters, because what you do, they're going to do. I'm in a restaurant with my family. This is when I had my third child, and I'm going to change his diaper in the bathroom. And as I'm changing him, there's this elderly lady who looked at my son first and said, oh, he's so cute. And I said, thank you. And I guess she didn't recognize my limb difference until I kind of like turned around like this, and she was like, "Oh, that poor child." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" Because he has a mother with a disability? Like, I didn't really understand why would she say something like that? There was another incident where I'm in the supermarket and I'm about to pick up my child. He's a little older now. I'm about to pick up my child, put him in the cart. Somebody literally grabbed my child before me, a stranger. I've never met them a day in my life, and puts my kid in the cart. And I'm like, did that just happen? Did that really just happen? A stranger took my kid out of my hands and put them in a cart because what? You don't think I can handle it, or you don't think I can hold them? If I respond with the same ignorance that is being given to me, what change can you make? What can you do to be an advocate then? Because all you're doing is you're doing the same thing that they were doing to you. You can't repay evil with evil. You have to repay evil with love. How do I do that? If I respond with ignorance, then I'm going to get that back and possibly lose that person, and they would never want to be educated about the disability community. But if I respond with love and I say, you know what, it's okay. This is who I am. What you did was really ignorant, but I forgive you. You never know the impact that you might make on a person. You never know if they're just acting like that because they're hurt, because hurt people hurt people. You never know what they might be going through in their home. They might have a disability themselves that nobody knows about, but they see you and they see how confident you are, and so they want to struck that down. You don't know. And so maybe your words could affect them coming out and saying, you know what, I have a disability myself too. And your confidence intimidated me. But I thank you for showing love to me anyway, because now I want to be confident, just like you're confident. We don't know anybody's story. There are disabilities seen and unseen. You don't know what people are going through, but your words have power and your actions have just as much power. Knowing that I'm loved and I'm chosen, and this is the way that I was formed. This is my creativity. Like, this is the way that, he formed me, and there was no mistake about it. It was intentional. That is what makes me get back up off my feet and say, you know what, regardless of what you said to me, regardless of what you've done to me, I know what's to be true. I say affirmations every morning. I'm brave, I'm loved, I'm smart, I'm successful. If you're saying anything that's going against that, then it's not true. And what I tell people all the time is, if you could believe a lie, you could believe the truth. And that is the truth, that I am wanted, I'm needed, and I'm necessary. And everything else doesn't matter. It just doesn't. Many people don't know, but Beautymark Community was not always called Beautymark Community. We first began 2018 with the words imperfect me. And I remember sitting down one day, writing my vision board, and I was like, yo, there's nothing imperfect about me. Like, give and take, I'm not perfect, right? But like, if I'm going to represent the disability community, there's nothing imperfect about me. This is the way I am. It's okay to be different. And so I talked to a colleague of mine at the time. She was my mentor, and I sat down and I talked to her. And she was like, you keep saying Beautymark, Beautymark's brothers, Beautymark's sisters. What is that? And I told her that it was from an act of kindness. And she said, you light up every time you say that. Why don't you just name it Beautymark? And I'm like, oh my gosh, Beautymark Community. I was pregnant with my daughter at the time, and I was just very exhausted. I was like maybe 7 months pregnant at the time. I got my radar up because I'm like, I'm about to see all these new kids. I know they're going to ask me a plethora of questions. I just wasn't feeling it that day. I didn't want to explain myself, to be completely honest with you. And so I'm about to, approach these group of kids, and the guy that I was with, he's already like kind of sensing my vibe. Like, do we have to go up there? And right before I even spoke and said anything, because they were just about to ask me, like, what happened to your arm? He cuts me off and says, it's her beauty mark. It's the way she was born. Like, just leave it. And that was that. But he didn't even understand the effect that that had on my life. Like, for that split second, I felt like I was proud to have a disability. Like, Beautymark, that was a whole nother description. It was like there wasn't a word that I could think of to describe who I was until he said that. And when I think about Beautymark, this is no doubt a mark. Okay, I can't change this overnight. No matter how many surgeries that I get, it's still going to be, some type of scar left. It's going to be some type of mark left. So this is my mark, right? But it's beautiful. And I was just like, wow, he really described me in 1 second about who I am, and gave me my dignity back. Because when we think about that word disability, it's more like the stigma. It's not the word in itself, it's the stigma and the stereotype behind it that makes you feel like that is not me. You will not believe how many times I've sat in front of people and called their disability a beauty mark. It doesn't matter if it's seen, unseen, physical, mental, it doesn't matter. If I call it a beauty mark, the light on their face, the same way that I felt that day, all those years ago, that's the same feeling that everybody else feels when I say that to them. And that's just the goal, honestly. I want them to feel that same feeling that I felt all those years ago when he said beauty mark to me. I'm not trying to change that word disability, because again, that word is not bad. It's not wrong. It's not a cuss word. It's not bad at all. But I am redefining what that word means, the definition of it. Saying it's a beauty mark is just another word for disability, so that when people understand that we are beautiful in our own way, and we are different in our own way, and that's all right. And so the whole goal of in the Beautymark community is to bring awareness to individuals with disabilities, whether seen or unseen. And I believe that as much as we want to communicate with people on the other side of the fence, if they just see our life and to see that we celebrate our differences, then they would too see our stories and say, you know what, people with disabilities are just like me. They live just like me. They're trying to just live their best life just like me. And the more we just communicate that and celebrate one another, and really just be open minded about being different, I think that that's when real change will happen. That's when everybody will see that we're more alike than different, and there will be a much better world. So Beautymark Community is making awareness by not just on our social media platform. We're also doing seminars and mentorships and classes, because I really want to get inside people's minds when it comes to the disability community. I have experience myself. I'm not just an advocate. I live this life too. So I don't have to just tell you like what you can say, what you could do. I can actually tell you what's happening in the minds of individuals who have disabilities, what we secretly go through. I want to mentor, young children. How do I be confident? How can I gain, this ability to be able to go and get a job, the one that I want, and not just be categorized and go get another job where there's a whole bunch of other people who have disabilities. No, I want to educate. And so I make sure that we don't just, do our features on social media and show the many beauty marks that are there. That's great, but it doesn't stop there. We have to really create change. And the only way to do that is the work. And I just want everybody to feel beautiful and know who they are. And so there's a lot of things that we do. I do see change, and the change that I see is so beautiful. I do see inclusion, and the inclusion I see is so beautiful. I do see a world where the barriers are broken, and it's so beautiful. I see people who are willing to communicate with one another, people of disabilities and not disabilities coming together and learning from one another. And it's so beautiful. That is a world that I see. And that is a world that I will continue to see to keep me going and to do what I have to do to make it happen.
Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie and I am the founder and CEO of Vision Representation. I'm coming on the end of this video today because I am celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Vision of Representation. I started Vision of Representation as a side project just to help me with editing and continue doing my work in filmmaking. But this quickly became a big passion for me, where I got to tell stories from people of all across the world, and I'm so grateful to be able to tell these stories. I created this series for a message of love, diversity, and inclusivity, just in hopes that we become a more understanding and loving community. I myself have learned so much about my own privilege and have learned through other people's stories that there's so much more to be open about. There's so much more opinions that I need to understand, and I'm so happy to have created this series. And I hope that you've gained some learning and some understanding as well through watching some of these videos. Thank you so much everyone for supporting the series for this whole year. And with this, I want to thank you all by donating $100 to a charity of your choice. By you commenting down for the next post on Instagram and Facebook saying which charity you think I should support and give $100 to. I choose nonprofit organizations only, so only comment those, and let me know, why is this cause so important to you? If you'd like, you can also donate more money by e-transferring to me the amount that you'd like so that we can increase this $100 amount to something more. I believe that everyone has something to say, and I just hope that with this series I encouraged you to tell your own story, whether it is through this series or through any other medium that you prefer. Thank you so much everyone for supporting. I'm so grateful for having almost 1,500 followers on the Instagram and over 200 likes on Facebook. I'm so grateful with 100,000 people that watched on YouTube. So keep it up everyone. I'm not done with the series, so please help me continue grow this series, and thank you so much. I am so blessed and grateful. Now thank you for watching this video and for watching this little clip, and I'll see you on the next post. Bye.